If they jump the gun too fast, that, you could end up getting a loss in this first fight before you even get to the second fight, which means you won't even get to that second fight. You'll have to be there fighting someone again that's top 15, that's maybe not even ranked in the top 15. You might be fighting some rookie and upcoming guy like Michael Chandler when he comes on the scene from a different promotion. Something like that. Fuck off. It's Wednesday right now, and we've only got 3 days left until the actual card is underway. If you still think that this card is Yuri Blachowicz versus Glover Teixeira, just go watch one of my other freaking videos explaining the whole entire situation. Come on. Anyways, we've got UFC 282 coming up with Magomed Ankalaev versus Jan Blachowicz, who actually never got his fair rematch for the belt against Glover Teixeira. And Jan has been sitting over here waiting, and he's been like, what the fuck, people? I lost the belt once, and I never actually fought for it again. I actually fought somebody else different and whooped his ass. Anyways, that's the main event we've got. With the co-main, we've got Paddy the motherfucking baddy Pimblett going up against Jared Gordon. Also on the card, we've got Robbie Lawler versus Santiago Ponzinibbio. Also got Darren Till versus Driscus or something like that, Duplessis, and Bryce Mitchell, my farm boy motherfucker. I'm a big fan of Bryce Mitchell versus Ila Topuria. Those fights are honestly probably some of the most entertaining fights we're going to see. I know we've seen Robbie Lawler fight 1 or 2 other times in 2022. I know his last fight he lost, but he did win against Nate Diaz in his second to last fight. So I do think he's still got a little bit left in the tank to give when it comes to a knockout or two left in that right fist of his. I did also mention this. I'm a slight little, very big fan of Bryce Mitchell. He just comes from a farm background. He's a farm boy. And it just reminds me a lot of me landscaping a lot when I was young and going through 8-9 years of landscaping while going to school. And I just really vibe and align with Bryce Mitchell's values as well. He donates some of his fight bonuses, all of it, if not half of it, to freaking charities, which I think is awesome. And I think that's just a really cool thing to bring into the UFC and to shine some light on when you get a win. Not everybody is like Paddy Pimblett or Dustin Poirier or Stephen Wonderboy Thompson just being nice people all the time and actually showing it. You have a lot of these UFC fighters always give off a big, brutish, I'm not a pussy at all. So hats off to my man Bryce Mitchell for just being a good dude and donating his fucking fight purses to charity. Not saying everyone has to donate their fight purses to charity, but I just think it's a cool thing to do. Now, after, fan voting for Bryce Mitchell, I actually want to talk about his opponent a little bit. He is 12-0. He's not ranked as high as Bryce Mitchell. He's ranked in the top 15. He's below the top 10. I think he's 13 or 14. Bryce Mitchell's ranked 9 right now, so I don't think that it's going to be the biggest challenge for him, but I do think it's one of those fights where after this, he could be fighting someone like Brian Ortega or Josh Emmett after this fight if he proves himself saying, these top 15 guys are too bad for me. I need someone high level now. And Brian Ortega and Josh Emmett definitely are high level for him. And I think maybe I'm even scared for him just saying Brian Ortega and Josh Emmett. I think if he wins this fight, it's the same thing with Paddy Pimblett. Their next fights after this fight are really important, which makes this fight that much more important, making sure that they secure the W. If they jump the gun too fast, that, you could end up getting a loss in this first fight before you even get to the second fight, which means you won't even get to that second fight. You'll have to be there fighting someone again that's top 15, that's maybe not even ranked in the top 15. You might be fighting some rookie and upcoming guy like Michael Chandler when he comes on the scene from a different promotion. Something like that. Moving on to Robbie Lawler. I want to talk about him a little bit because he lost his last fight. He won against Nate Diaz. I don't think he has the biggest future right now in the UFC. He's had the fucking career of the UFC. And this one might be his last. It is December. It might be the end of his contract. We have seen his chin be a little shaky when it comes to some of his fights. I definitely think he's had some fights where he's had some backing. He's had a lot of hype behind him. Oh, Robbie Lawler's coming back. He's going to shock the world with another knockout. And then he gets first round KO'd. It's really sad to see it as someone who had such a great career in the UFC. And not to say that I don't want to see him to continue to fight. I don't think he's tarnishing his career or anything. I just love Robbie Lawler and hope he gets another knockout. I love his knockouts. I think he's a really entertaining striker. He's definitely someone who's not afraid to go to war with someone when it comes to fucking striking. And that's always entertaining to watch. Moving on to Darren Till, who honestly I think is going to be a little shaky right now. It's Darren Till versus Driscus. I might be fucking that up, Duplessis. And Duplessis, I think, might be a little up-and-coming fighter right now. He's 17-2. He's on a 5-fight win streak in the UFC. I don't think necessarily the people he's been fighting were the biggest challenges, but, anyone in the UFC isn't just a pushover. So I do think that this fight against Darren Till can actually be kind of a stepping stone for him. Some people might be thinking, everyone knows the name Darren Till in the UFC, and I think they might be thinking this Duplessis guy might be a little stepping stone for him. But honestly, I think Darren Till is a stepping stone for Duplessis because Duplessis is on a 5-fight win streak right now, and he's only lost twice, and I don't think he's lost in the UFC at all. So I really do think Duplessis is an up-and-coming fighter in this welterweight division right now. Now, is he going to get a knockout? Is he going to get a submission? He's got 7 wins by knockout, 9 wins by submission. He has gotten 9 wins by submission and 7 by knockout, like I just said. Those 9 submissions weren't really in the UFC, so how seriously can you take them? In the UFC, though, he has went for 2 out of 11 takedowns. I do think he is more of a striking, favorable type of fighter. Now, going up against Darren Till, who might have a little bit of reach on you and is very good at managing the distance, might be a little challenge there. Might be a little more challenging than he thought, but I think that's why he's in the UFC, and that's why we watch as UFC fans. We see people overcoming challenges. That's what I want to see at least. If you don't, fuck off. Now, I already mentioned Paddy Pimblett a little bit in this video, and I already made a whole entire video about the damn motherfucker and how he lost 50 pounds, and he's freaking looking absolutely fantastic already leading up to this. But that's the co-main event. If you guys didn't know, live under a rock. The main event, which was already changed once. If it gets canceled leading up fight week, I'm going to just freaking go insane. Very unlikely, I think, because these guys have both confirmed. So unless someone gets injured, this fight is definitely on. We've got Jan Blachowicz, Magomed Ankalaev, and I think we might have a new light heavyweight king. John Jones was the previous king. The belt's just been passed around. No one's really defended it for a long period of time and held the belt for a while. And Magomed Ankalaev might be that motherfucking guy. They've kind of been, bringing him up slowly in the light heavyweight division, and he has beat guys like Anthony Smith, Thiago Santos, Volkan Oezdemir. These guys are no fucking joke. Anthony Lionheart Smith has definitely got one of the biggest gas tanks I've almost seen in the UFC. When he went against John Jones, he was keeping up with him like I've seen no one else do. Now, has he been the same since? That's debatable, but I definitely think he's still at the top of his game. He's not definitely on the downhill yet, so beating him definitely is an achievement in the UFC. So I do think Magomed Ankalaev has a good chance of getting this light heavyweight belt against Jan Blachowicz. Jan Blachowicz is no pushover. His Poland power is always going to be there. That shit can be like a Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman 5th round knockout. It can be like Israel Adesanya versus Alex Pereira 4th round, 5th round knockout. It can happen at the very end of the fight. It doesn't matter for Jan Blachowicz. That is why Magomed Ankalaev is going to have to finish this fight on the ground, I think, as well as finishing it early. He doesn't want this fight to go on because the longer it goes on, the more you're going into Jan Blachowicz' freaking world. That's his world. That's where he thrives, I believe. When it's going into those championship rounds and everyone's counting him out, and he just needs that one-punch knockout power to just end the fight. Game over. GG. I'll see you tomorrow, baby. That is going to be it for this one, guys. If you guys have any opinions on who you think is going to win any of these fights, please let me know. Even if you don't have a fucking opinion, make your own opinion. Why else did you click on this video, huh? I've got a whole bunch of you clicking on my videos and not letting me know your opinions. Come on. This is why I make these. We're supposed to have conversations. We're supposed to communicate as human beings. But either way, I've also got a whole entire analysis on and breakdowns of these fights coming out in the next upcoming days. Don't forget to tune in to those videos. If you want to be notified when those videos are dropped, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. And we are going to be having a whole entire UFC live watch party for UFC 282 on Saturday. don't fucking miss it. It's going to be at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And with that, have a great motherfucking day.